So without further ado, let me put Miss Mary in. Hi
Hi,
there.
Chris.
Hi, Mary. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So wonderful to see you. And, I brought another guy along here tonight. I hope you're okay with that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And seeing how I figured we'd kick off, go back a couple of years because we were all in this thing together 5 years ago and we're still here. And for those of you that don't know that um, Josh from the lab, he and I did a lot of programs together early on with Mary, and I figured it would be apropos to have him here as well. So um, let me get Josh in here. There he is.
Hey guys,
Hey, buddy.
how are you doing? Good to see you both, and thanks for having me. It means a lot.
Yes, absolutely. And so a lot of people, Mary, are not familiar with your connection to Summer Wells. Since this case is kind of been going in different ways, right? Sometimes it's dormant, sometimes it's cooking.
Yeah.
But would you? Why don't we start this off with you explaining to the audience who you are and what your connection is to Summer? Is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah. So I am Donnie's stepsister. Um, I've known him since I was about 5 years old. Him and his dad and my mom got together and got married in, oh gosh, I think I was about 12 years old at the time. And so, yeah, so I'm Summer's aunt, and I started getting into, when she ended up missing, and so yeah.
And so Don, for the audience, if you're not familiar, Don is Summer's dad,
Yeah.
biological father.
Yeah.
And so some of the childhood and family dynamics with Don, and Don's going to be our clarity of focus tonight. We're going to follow the bouncing ball on one Don Wells, just like we did yesterday for Candace. Now I'm getting a bunch of wind coming into. I don't know if there's a fan nearby or anything like that. Just so we know, just no worries. But that said, so Marion, she has a sister named Jeannie, and Mary and Jeannie are biological sisters, and they grew up in a blended family after their mother married Don's father. And Don lived with them and in the state of Utah as their stepbrother. And when Jeannie was very young and when Mary was very young, they both reported being essayed. Jeannie specifically, starting at the age of 5, and it continued for many, many years. And Mary was also victimized. And they were very strong, very powerful, came out about 4.5 years ago, almost 5 years ago, when Summer went missing. And they had reached out to law enforcement to tell them their story and that they were very concerned with the disappearance of Summer. And for Jeannie, the abuse started at the age of 5, and it lasted over 7 years. And all of those cases were reported to law enforcement. Law enforcement investigated it. They even contacted and interviewed Don. But unfortunately, the statute of limitations had expired in the state of Utah. So neither Mary nor Jeannie have ever received justice in the court of law for the abuse that they endured
Yeah.
at the hands of Donnie and his like. She has spoken about this very bravely. I've always considered her an amazing advocate for women's rights and SA victims' rights, as well as she has empowered many, many women who are potentially dealing with that violence. And so Mary's spoken about the broader family environment to us, to both Josh and I, including generational issues and how Don's behavior fit into this. And so once Summer went missing, they had reached out to law enforcement there in Hawkins County to report their incidents and basically tell them that they needed to take a hard look at their stepbrother.
Mhm.
Did I miss something, Mary?
No, I'm just agreeing with you. So, yeah.
Okay. Keep me on the straight and narrow as you always do.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
But the interesting thing about that, they gave some tremendous insight in Don's personality and Don's behavior.
Mhm.
And as a result of that, Mary's been able to provide a perspective on Don's history, his patterns of denial and minimalization, how he frames incidents, and his family interactions and how he hid his behavior, not only from his parents, but from other people around him in the circle of his influence,
Yeah.
and his family interactions. And she's also been an advocate, noting how his public statements don't quite align with his and hers lived experiences.
Yeah.
And so those family observations immediately post Summer's disappearance, she was able to give some insight into the clarity of how the communication dynamics take place between her and Don and Candace and Don. And Mary has done many recordings of phone calls with Don. And we've heard some of those recordings here. I've not played all of them, but she's made a lot. And it was interesting that I made a phone call to Don Wells after Summer had gone missing, questioning him about his interactions with his stepsisters. And he admitted, and these were also turned over to the investigators, who they interviewed him in jail, didn't they, Mary? Didn't they go to the jail and interview him?
They did. Well, since it was here in Utah, the investigator who was on the case, he had to, instead of like fly into Tennessee, he just did it over the phone. But he said it was so hard to talk to him. He said he couldn't get a word in edgewise with Donnie. But yeah.
That conversation from the jail. Mary and I, we FOIA'd the interrogation or interview or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And we put it on the channel because I thought it was really important. And the defiance and the just the personality of Don Wells really shines through on that. He is no stranger, Chris, to being questioned by the police at all.
And so, Josh, you have that up on your channel?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's when he really started to blow his gasket on me. Was because he was admitting all these. He was sort of admitting to things, but then minimizing them, blaming others for, the essay, blaming the victims, which really just really annoyed me to the core. And, where he would have kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, no responsibility taken sometimes. And then sometimes say I was just a kid, but then it was, a 5-year-old's fault or something like that. So I just said, you know what, let's just go ahead and listen to this conversation since it's public information and you're the focus of a criminal investigation. And some people were mad at me for it. And, but I didn't care.
Yeah. So the abuse for Jeannie started when she was 5. He was 12.
Mm-hmm.
Or was he 9 years difference or 7 years?
7.
Okay, so he was 14 when it started, and it lasted 7 years. So actually, he was 19 when it ended, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so she was 5, and so we got to back 7. So he was 12 when it started.
Yeah.
And it ended when he was 19. And he also essayed another girl that we had on this program. It was a friend of Jeannie's who stayed over, who slept over one night. And this whole story all lines up. The investigators went through it, and the district attorney reviewed it, and her conclusion was it happened, but I can't prosecute it because at the time that it happened, the statute of limitations
Right.
was different. And since that time, though, they have changed the laws in Utah, and now people can go back from, these incidences. And that was kind of the trigger for Mary and Jeannie when they heard that Summer had disappeared in Tennessee. They live across west in Utah, and of course, Summer disappears in Tennessee, and they had not communicated in many, many years. And so now here we are 5 years later. So is that an accurate assessment of bringing everybody pretty much up to speed as to why we're here today?
Chris,
Yeah.
Can I just add something really quick?
Yeah.
It's very important to note that in the months before Summer went missing, Don was living in Utah, and he had brought his oldest son out there, and Mary was having interactions with them daily. But he was living in a trailer, correct, Mary?
When he was here in Utah?
Yes. And that was just some months before Summer went missing.
Yeah, it was about 6 months before Summer went missing.
Yeah. So he had left his family and took the oldest son, who's now in state's custody and has been and is never as a minor will never be returned to Don or Candace, even though they postured for a long time that they were going to get them back. There was never any chance of that actually ever happening, and we now know that. But that Mary had quite a lot of interaction with Don in the months before Summer went missing, because there was chaos and discourse in the house, and Don has a history of taking off like that. And so that, I think Mary kind of saw some, odd behavior and things like that leading up to it. And so I think that's important to note too.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a great perspective. So, tonight we want to, just take the approach that aligning with Mary's accounts of her own personal experience and her direct testimony as a survivor of a family member, and how that context and pattern relates to proving or disproving specifics and the patterns related to Summer's life. Now, there was a really interesting 911 call where Candace had called about Don abusing Summer, and he was drunk, and that he was going off. And I'm not going to play it because it's too triggering.
Yeah.
You know which one I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And in that call, you can hear in the background, it sounds like the voice of a little girl saying, "Mommy, mommy, he's hurting me."
Mm-hmm.
And that in of itself started to lay some foundation in my mind anyway.
Yeah.
We needed to take a harder look at this guy.
Yeah.
Whatever that meant.
Mm-hmm.
And what we discovered was a very disturbing pattern of criminal history. And that criminal history dated back into the 1990s and up through the 2000s in not only Utah and Arkansas, but there were multiple charges in Utah between 1990 and 2001 of attempted aggravated assaults, interfering with public servants, forgeries, burglaries, burglaries of dwellings, many theft cases, narcotics cases. Is that your husband? Tell him I said hi.
Chris said hi.
He's like, "Hey, man."
If you were to write up Don Wells's rap sheet, you'd have to have it on a CVS receipt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll bet his rap sheet is a mile long.
I've seen it. It's a PDF of like 60 pages.
Wow. Wow.
It's insane.
Yes.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Mary.
I was going to ask you, Chris, now, so I was talking to a cousin of mine earlier, and is there any way that we could check and see if Candace or Donnie is on the sex offender list?
Little Donnie,
No, Big Donnie.
as in the Donnie we're talking about tonight?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We can do that in about 2 minutes.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Now, the reason why I'm asking is because a piece of paper had showed up. Now, I don't know if it was real or what it was, but I got it through Prayer Garden. She had sent it to me. And it was a paper with Candace's name on it. And apparently she had been accused through DCS, or you know what I mean? Yeah, is that?
I was telling you about it. I believe it. I believe it's authentic, but from what I've heard, there were never any charges filed because the boys were taken from them, and that was sort of the deal, I guess, was that if they signed over their rights to the state, that basically they would wash their hands of it. But from what I've heard, that there is and I've seen it, but I haven't it's not a really clear, it's like somebody took a snapshot of it.
Right.
And
right.
So you can't really make out exactly what it says, but I've also heard Candace has admitted to her friends as well, that close friends, that there was accusations of SA in the house as well.
Okay, so now if that paper is legit, would they have been put on a sex offender list?
No.
Okay.
No, they would have to be prosecuted for it. And
okay.
There's another part of the story, and sorry, Chris, but there's another part of the story that none of it makes any sense to me. I heard Sheriff Lawson come out and say, we never got to today. He just said we never got to talk to them extensively. Well, what the hell was he doing? What do you mean you never got to talk to them extensively? I mean,
Right.
I really don't understand how this was handled. I get it that if you don't have you don't have the evidence to lock them up or whatever, but there were other crimes committed, and the only thing that they ever hit him with was the drunk driving. Everything else they let him slide on. Everything. Every other accusation was never looked into. And
Right.
for some reason, I cannot understand how this was, and then he comes on today and says, well, they could have watched her better. I think I've always thought that they knew something. Well, where was all this, before?
Yeah.
When all these sympathizers leave the parents alone, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. And you're going, now that you're not sheriff, now you're saying this? I mean,
Yeah.
it's asinine to me. It really is. And
Yeah.
it really is kind of made me irritable.
Well, before I go out on a limb here, I want to make sure that I confirm any of this. Okay, so let's just hold off on that part of it,
Right.
because I'm not seeing it on the list right now.
Okay.
So, but that doesn't mean there couldn't be an upload situation here going on as well. But that said, right now I'm not seeing it.
Okay.
So where I want to where go ahead, John.
It's an accusation. Of what?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
But we definitely know his son is on the list in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Still?
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
And we know that Candace's grandmother's or Candace's mom's brother
Yeah.
was the number 1 or number 2 most violent SA offender in the state of Wisconsin,
Big state.
and that they didn't want to let him out of jail. But the parole system allowed him to come out into the public. And it just seems like there was a whole other subset of individuals that surrounded the family.
Yeah.
And how old is Donnie's biological son outside of Summer?
He was born in 86, I believe, because he's only a couple of months younger than my son. And my
Okay.
son was born in June of 86. So
Yeah, so
how old would that be?
Like,
40?
he's like 38, 39.
39. Yeah. Yeah.
Close to
I don't
mine.
even know. Here I am. I don't even know how old my son is. But yeah, so
One you lose count.
yeah, don't worry. Don't worry. So here's what I want to do. I want to play this video that I put together. And there are a couple of things in it. We're going to do a stop and start. And in it, I'm going to point out some things that we're going to follow the bouncing ball. The reason I set this up yesterday for listening to Candace again, Candace also has an extensive criminal history to the point where she beat one of her own children, and the state took that child away. And she is alive today, but has never, ever had any contact with her.
That was the boy. The boy was the one that was beaten, and he ended up with a traumatic brain injury and ended up in state's care. The girl, I don't believe, I don't know what happened to the girl, but she was taken as well at the same time. Now, Candace says that it was her husband at the time that did it, but there's no clarification. They were both in trouble for the abuse.
Yeah. And that's an interesting correlation, because if in fact that 911 call is going on where she is saying that Don is beating her daughter in
yeah.
the background, then that's going to be Summer. And if this was the case, where he's beating this little girl in the background,
Yeah.
the other husband back in the day, then it would be a consistent pattern of behavior. And so now, why is this important this evening? Because as we listen to the compiled video that I've put together here this evening, I want you to pay very close attention because you've already seen the environment now. And so, environment, situation, circumstance is always important to understand. And so, yesterday, you've seen the environment. So now we're going to see the circumstance and the situation that Summer was subject to. And we're going to hear it right from Candace. We're going to hear it from Grandis. And we're going to hear it from Don. And I'm curious of what your opinions are going to be because there's a lot of opinions out there. And like Josh just said, you know, the sheriff said, I wish we could have had more time with them, which was always my concern.
Yeah.
That they didn't get an opportunity to pin them down.
Chris, you constantly were saying I would haul them in as many times as I could. And you said that from pretty much the beginning. You said, look, every chance I'd get, I'd have their asses down there, you know, and in the interview room and talking to them. And come to find out now that didn't happen. I mean, it makes no sense.
So, Mary, but bring us up to speed before we go there. Your dad passed away, right?
Yes, he did.
And how did Don take that? And what are the family dynamics while that was all going on?
Well, now, Donnie, now this is just what I heard. The day that my dad died, the night he died, Donnie came down here, I guess, thinking that he was gonna get the house, move in, take over, because his dad had died. And I don't know why, but for some reason he thought that. And so, but from what I heard, he went to his sister's house and his sister had stopped him and told him, no, you can't go over there. You know, it's not your house. So I heard that he had went back home, and but when all this was taking place, I myself actually stayed away from the house because Sonia was over there, and we don't get along.
Now, tell everybody who Sonia is.
Now, Sonia is Donnie's biological sister. And so ever since this started with Donnie, I mean, I can see that she's been on his side, you know. But I don't know. We just got into a great big tiff about it because of all Donnie's lies and everything he was putting out there. And so it's been a big mess, you know, ever since it started. So
Now, does your mom still live in the house?
yeah, yep. And actually my older sister and her husband moved in with my mom, and they're the ones who are taking care of her now. So
Okay.
yeah.
So, and Donnie is back in Tennessee.
As far as I know, yep.
And that property belonged to his mother.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that's why they live up at 110 Ben Hill Road.
Right. Now, from what I gather, apparently, because his mom left that property to a friend of hers, and is what I found out was there was a quick claim deed that came up for $10 that she sold that house and property to Donnie for $10, and just she went, I guess she lives down actually in southern Utah somewhere right now, but I could see her just handing him over the property and the house because I know Donnie went to her and just kept hounding her and hounding her and hounding her, you know, and probably even threatening her and everything else. And she probably just done the quit claim deed and said, here, take it. I don't want it. So because before his mom died, she didn't even want him around.
Shocker.
Okay. So I think we have a clear understanding of the dynamics. Even today, he's still trying to, be scandalous to the family, even to this day.
Yeah.
In any way, shape, or form, Mary, when you talk to him, and as you have talked to him about Summer, what's his position about searching for Summer?
It's like he has no interest at all.
Why do you think that is?
Because, it was just like with you, I mean, I think you were getting too close. You know what I mean? To finding things out and stuff like that. And that's why he turned on you, Chris. And, but yeah, he has no interest in even finding her or anything. The very first phone call, and I never did get it recorded. I wish I would have. But the very first phone call I had with him after she went missing, he had told me that they had gotten like over 4,000 flyers and they just threw them away. He said, yeah, we just trashed them. I said, why would you do that? And he said, because there's no sense in putting them up. No sense in trying to look for her. It's like
They were in the back of the Subaru, the red Subaru, and Candace had backed up to a dumpster and threw away 4,000 flyers.
Yeah. So, his position in trying to find her, he has no, and I think the reason why he don't want to find her or don't want to get on that road is because, I mean, if they find her, he's gonna be in trouble.
And also, Chris, within the last 6 to 8 months, he's been seen tearing stuff down, flyers as well on that road still. There are people that have documented it. I mean, he wants nothing to do with this anymore at all. The only reason he ever talked about it was from public pressure.
Yeah.
And humiliation and anger.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he'll realize we're not going anywhere.
Right? Yeah.
And at some point, hey, I'm still here. Love to talk to you again, Donnie.
Yep.
Anytime. I got your phone number.
Miss you, buddy.
Yeah.